Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 11 of What If Naruto Was a Godly Mage. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, stay in tune for What If Naruto Was a God of Wind that I'll be posting soon on this channel. I already posted a new episode of What If Naruto's an OP Seal Master over on Anime King 2, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys. And later I'm going to be posting What If Naruto got his memories sealed away, so stay tuned for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, the people of Konoha were scared, beyond wildest belief as they saw a large, strange, demonic hand coming from the sky. There was a rift in the sky as a hand was coming from it, trying to pry itself out, trying to come into this world. As Naruto, his eyes were white. He was like in some sort of trance. Orochimaru was in his sight of vision. In a blur, he appeared in front of Orochimaru. Orochimaru expected to go around this kid like it's nothing, but he was completely surprised to what happened. A small white ball formed near his hand as he sank it into Orochimaru's stomach. Orochimaru felt his body being ripped apart from the inside as he quickly left it. As he came out of his mouth, but when he reappeared over to the next side, a harsh kick smashed into his back, smashing some of his bones. As he was then grabbed roughly by the shoulder, as he felt Naruto's fingernails that were now black. As it was released as strange substance inside his body, Orochimaru had to quickly shed his skin. As he started to flee, seeing his body, his shed skin disintegrate behind him. He started to run for his life, but Naruto wasn't paying him in mind. Naruto was looking up in the sky. As Naruto then went down before blasting off, flying straight up towards the hand. He reached out towards it, as the hand started to rip, the dimension that it was even wider, making another hand emerge. As a face could be shown, only a black eye. Meanwhile, the mindscape the Kyuubi was rushing towards Naruto, as he was just floating there. She had to transform to her full state as a strange eye inside the mindscape was looking at her, weighing her down. She leaped forward and returned back to normal as she grabbed his hand. She screamed out his name as loud as possible. The strange dark energy in his body started to fluctuate badly. As Yamato didn't appear, as he wondered what the hell was going on. As he saw the Kyuubi, as he went over to help her, tried to pull Naruto to this strange stance. As the both of them grabbed onto him, the moment Yamato made contact with Naruto, Yamato felt like something was so familiar with his feeling, but he just didn't know what it was. As the power exploded out of Naruto in a wild burst, back in the real world, the hands start to get pushed back into the strange dimension. But before they go, one of his sharp fingernails tapped Naruto right on his forehead. As Naruto's body came plummeting down to the ground as Yamato came out and caught him. Yamato brought his body to Sakura, where Sakura laid the both of them down, him and Sasuke. As she was wondering what the hell was going on, she was bunkered down, holding on to Sasuke to make sure that he was alright. But now that Naruto was here, he was just unconscious. Sarutobi came towards the forest of death, along with Anko was there as well. As he dreaded that this had something to do with Naruto. But everything seemed to be calm right now as he told Anko to go and investigate, and report to him back if anything else happened. As he had a really bad feeling. Naruto woke up in the mindscape, as the Kyuubi apologized for saying that she was just using him to get out of the seal, as she was never friends with him in the first place. She was just angry, and feeling these strange emotions, human emotions, which she was never used to. This is why she reacted badly, as she deeply apologized. As Naruto forgave her, and just told her not to do something like that again, and he really missed her as he hugged her, as she hugged him back rather tightly. As Yamato came in there and they started to make joke, before the situation got really serious. As the Kyuubi asked what just happened, but Naruto had no idea. The last thing you remember was this strange dream that he had. And something also happened with him. He's a bit taller, and his eyes also changed. No longer even of the bright blue, they were quite dull, giving it a shaggy appearance, like his eyes were turning dark. Naruto had to get out of his mindscape as Sakura was being attacked. He came out there and stopped Zaku and Dosu, as Sakura was surprised to see him and wondering how did he got here so fast. Naruto held on to Kin's wrist and snapped it without meaning to. As he felt different, his body felt so flush with power. Even the Kyuubi was surprised, as she could feel power literally coursing through his veins. It had nothing to do with her chakra, power was just oozing through him. And she could also feel it from Yamato as well. He has changed as well. Naruto was about to kill the Sound Team when Sasuke woke up, as the Sound Team used a chance to escape. Sasuke, as his mind was corrupted, he attacked Naruto, but Naruto grabbed him and held him by his throat. He started to choke the life out of Sasuke, as his curse mark receded, but Naruto did not let him go, as Yamato had to shout at Naruto. And Naruto did not understand as he broke the hold on Sasuke. He felt different, like he could just kill Sasuke without even caring, as he didn't understand what was going on with him. We then escaped to a different realm, as the thing that tried to break into the world was laughing. Someone was above it, but they couldn't see it below. It seemed like it was a space between the two of them, a strange rip, but the thing could not be seen, as the person was just sitting there. They were wearing a hood, so you could not tell their appearance. So yeah guys, that was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it for yourself. So what is begin this new episode? Enough! Sarutobi shouted, making his presence be known, as he was a damn Hokage for God's sake, making all of them quickly shut their mouths, as he radiated killing intent and unbridled power for someone his age, as he glared at any one of them, daring them to speak. He was currently in the council chambers along with the civilian and the Shinobi Council, and all of the problem was coming from the civilian council. I know most of you are scared, not understanding what happened, and scared that it might happen again, but throwing around false accusation, I will not stand for it one bit. You have already tried to put that boy through so much, and now you want to blame things on him without even knowing what happened. And neither of you have the slightest information, he said, as Sarutobi took a deep breath. But Hokage-sama, one of the man said as he looked at Sarutobi, given what we all know, that boy is the only one in this village that possesses strange power. Things that most of us have never seen before. And, as we all are aware by what Lord Hayashi said, that wasn't an illusion. So, this has to be the boy doing. Sarutobi glared at the man, making him sink in his seat. None of you have proper authorization to blame anyone, especially a shinobi under my rank, said Sarutobi. We have no proof of what happened. This could have easily been an enemy shinobi. And yet, the first person you people are to blame is that innocent boy, which you have no proof of anything happening. So then, Hokage-sama, said a female of the civilian council, what do you intend for us to do, she said. Investigation will be run, and we will try to find out the cause of that. Whatever that attack was, that was something that threatened the life of our villagers and our people. If this is an enemy shinobi attack, we will respond accordingly. But for now, that is all, he said. Dismiss, as neither of them could say anything else, as he dismissed all of the civilian council, as the shinobi council remained behind. Once they were gone, Sarutobi turned, as all of them looked towards him. Hayashi, can you tell me exactly what you saw? As I said, Hokage-sama, said Hayashi. This power I felt, it was nothing I ever felt before. And I saw it with my eyes as well. It wasn't chakra. It was made up of something entirely different. One of those giant hands has some sort of power coursing through it. Something very foul and dark. Not even my Byakugan was able to see through the hand. It stopped, and once my eye reached the surface, it started to give me backlash towards my eyes, making them pain. I couldn't even look at it for too long. None of my members could. This is really troublesome, said Shikaku. Know that those guys are gone. Do you expect this to be him? As he looked at Sarutobi. I have no idea who is behind this attack, but it will be investigated. I will begin the questioning on the Genins that were in the forest from Konoha to see what they know and try to piece what I have together. But what if it is the boy? As Sarutobi turned his head to Koharu. Yes, Homura said. What if it is the boy? He is different from everyone else in this village, possessing strange powers that no one, through the elemental nations, had never possessed before. And if this boy has gone out of control and is able to summon a monster like that, what will you do, Hokage? Will you wait until it's too late? Or will you stop him to protect the thousands of people inside of Konoha for one life? Nothing has been proven yet, said Sarutobi. Once I gather all the information I need, then I'll make my judgment, he said. But will you be able to? Asked Homura. As Sarutobi narrowed his eyes at Homura, and not to mention, if this really is him, he's still an asset to the village because of what he has. So his execution cannot be taken so lightly. What the hell are you talking about, said Sarutobi. There will be no execution. This meeting is over, he said. Once I gather enough detail, you all will know, he said. And with that he got to his feet, as he simply walked away out of the room, leaving behind the council members. Time skip. As we go down the dark, slimy, long hallway, and pass underneath that, there was a dark, empty tunnel system that lead straight down. As the pipes crinkled, as water dropped, as we made our way to the center of Danzo's root base, where Danzo was sitting down in his throne. Two people was in front of him, and these were his trusted bodyguards, Torun and Fu. As Fu was a Yamanaka that Danzo was taking special likings to, and made him one of his personal bodyguards. Torun, on the other hand, he's from the Aburame clan with special bugs. Bugs that are poison for others to touch, quite deadly in fact. As the both of them were bowing down as Danzo was sitting on his throne, I want the both of you to keep an eye on Naruto Uzumaki discreetly, he said. If this boy proved to be the threat he is, we will have to remove the Nine Tails from him and execute him swiftly. Stay in the shadows and make sure you are not seen. Knowing Sarutobi, he will have the boy watch as well. But you guys are supposed to be better, and you will be. Am I understood? Danzo asked. The both of them nodded. Now, go and complete your objective. Anything of interest that you found, report it to me immediately, he said, as he waved his hand as the both of them vanished. As Danzo looked out in space, this boy was becoming more trouble than he's worth. Yes, Konoha does need the Nine Tails to strike fear in the other villages' hearts, to know that they can never step against Konoha, because all of them will be crushed because they have the power of the Nine Tails. Even though he didn't know of the boy's status, or if he even contacted the Nine Tails yet, or if he can even wield the power, he had no clue. The only thing he knew that the boy possessed no chakra at all, but he has strange abilities. And he claimed to be having a talking book. Yes, Danzo's gathered his information well, but no one could hear this book talk. Danzo knew that the boy wasn't crazy, he was just different. But he's becoming more trouble than he's worth, after all. And if he's proven to be a threat to Konoha, he will be eliminated. Hokage orders be damned. Meanwhile, blood was everywhere. The entire place was covered in blood. Buildings were broken, ruins. As a huge part of the place was covered in flames. Strange black flames that was eating away at everything. Strange acid liquid was on the ground, disintegrating the ground and ripping through people's body. In all of this carnage and blood and death stood one, Naruto Uzumaki, with a wicked smile plastered on his face. As he looked around him with a sick, twisted smile, his eyes were completely white. His nails were long and black, as they were coated in blood, his shirt soaked with blood. Blood was even running down his mouth, as he looked around and laughed at all the dead bodies, before he heard something crying as he walked forward. Looking down, he saw Sasuke. As Sasuke was on the ground, a huge hole teared through his chest, as Sakura was crying over him. Sakura then looked up with pure fear on her face. "You," she said. "What have you done?" she screamed at him. As Naruto stepped forward and raised his hand, before Sakura could say anything else, he ripped right through her throat. Naruto jumped out of bed, cold sweat all over him, as he looked around, as he remembered where he was. They had got to the tower yesterday. They still have a few days before the exam was completed. As Naruto looked around, he was in one of the rooms in the tower. Cold sweats had drenched him like he was soaked. His entire body felt shaken, like he has been through a lot, even though he has just been sleeping, as he doesn't really understand what is happening to him. Ever since that instant with that thing that was trying to come out from the vortex, and the memories that Yamato showed him, from that thing touching him right on his forehead, he has changed. His body was different completely. He has gotten a bit taller, his eyes becoming darker, a darker blue. But not just that, he could feel his strength. He didn't exactly know what happened, but he was beyond stronger than he was before. As his weights didn't even bother him anymore, he had to crank it up a lot. Right now, he was wearing 500 pounds on each limb. Yes, that seemed crazy, because right now on his body he was wearing 2,000 pounds, seeing that he had 2 seals on his arm and 2 of them on his leg. That was just crazy. But the crazy thing about it is, it wasn't affecting him that badly. He could feel it, but it wasn't that heavy. And he could still move around and do and fight. That was the crazy part of it. When did he become so strong? And his reflexes has sharpened a lot. His eyes could see things that he could never see before. Even without the ranged spell, he could see far in the distance but not too far away. He could hear things. He could feel the air literally around him. And he could feel mana in the air more frequently now. Usually he had to draw upon mana and let his body rest, but now he could feel it in the air, flowing all around him, the power, which he could just drain at a moment's notice. He could also feel the power of the 9 tails inside of him. He never felt this before, now he felt it. It was large, extremely large. Just an ongoing sea of pure power inside of her. And spells. Yamato had showed him there was at least 30 new spells that came into the book, as he haven't even looked at half of them yet. And these spells were quite darker than the ones that he usually used, and more destructive. These spells were for killing, nothing else. As Naruto didn't know what was changing him so much, he got out of bed as he sat down on the edge of the bed. He remembered almost strangling Sasuke. Even when Sasuke returned back to normal and was choking for his life, he didn't want to stop. Instead, he wanted to just snap Sasuke's neck right there and then, as he didn't understand what was going on with him. As Naruto sighed, "You okay?" said the Kyuubi. "Oh, yeah," said Naruto. "You know you can't lie to me, right?" she said. As Naruto scratched the back of his head, "I'm not lying," he said. "I can feel your emotions, Naruto-kun," she said. "It's all over the place. You're worried, and you're scared as well." As Naruto sighed, "I suppose I am," he said. "I just don't understand what is going on with me." "Well, whatever it is," she said, "I'll be here for you. You know that, right?" "Yeah," said Naruto. "But I'm betting that a lot of people in Konoha saw what happened." "What do I do?" said Naruto. "Well, tell them you don't know." "But what about the old man?" "Him especially," she said. "Just tell him you have no idea about what happened. Tell him that you passed out and you didn't see anything." "But what about Orochimaru?" said Naruto. As the Kyuubi thought about it. "Okay, tell him that Orochimaru attacked the Uchiha and your pink-haired teammate, and you gave them time to escape while taking down Orochimaru, and he got the better of you and knocked you out. Orochimaru was the last thing you saw before you woke up to Sakura being attacked." "But I don't want to lie, Naruto-kun, you have to," she said. "People already react strange around you because of me. I don't want them to find another reason to hate you," she said. "Just please, do it." "I guess you're right," Naruto said. "Alright then. I won't tell him what happened," Naruto said. "But what are we gonna do?" he said. As the Kyuubi sighed, "Unfortunately, I have no idea right now. But we have to do something very soon. That power I felt from you was different than anything I've ever felt before. Even when you were angry before, while trained and couldn't get some of your spells under control. I never felt something like this before. This was just beyond," she said. "I know," said Naruto, as he lay back down on his bed. "What if I What if I end up hurting the people I care about? What if I lose myself like the last time? I will be here to help you, she said. I won't let you harm your friends. I won't let you suffer because of that. I'll be here. And Yamato is here as well. I'm sure that we can find a way to snap you out of it. Just don't worry so much. Yeah, said Naruto. Where is he, by the way, he asks. As the Kyuubi looked over on her floor, as he was currently sitting down in her bed. He's sleeping. He's what? Said Naruto. Yeah. I thought that it was strange as well, but he's actually sleeping. He's in his human form. He crawled in here. We were talking and then he just, well, said that he was tired. And he's sleeping, snoring and everything. Really? Said Naruto. Yeah, said the Kyuubi. Well, that is, Naruto was cut off by a knock at the door. As he looked towards it, before getting out of bed, he opened the door. Oh, hey uncle, he said. As he noticed Sasuke and Sakura were with her as well. Come on, bruh, she said. The Hokage need to see you. Naruto gulped as he knew something like this was going to happen. Moments later, they were in one of the rooms in the tower, as the Hokage was sitting down. As the four of them were there, uncle including the team. So you're telling me that you have a run-in with Orochimaru? Yes, Sakura said. He didn't want to wear a scroll. From what I could see, he just wanted to test us. As uncle clenched her fists. That snake bastard is up to something, she said. And what happened after that? He bit Sasuke in the neck. Show him, Sasuke. Sasuke grunted a bit, because he didn't want anyone to find out about this. Well, not yet. He wanted to know what it was capable of because the power he felt from it. He remembered that source of power. Even though he couldn't remember anything else, he remembered the power. And it was just unreal. But Sakura had to go and tell everyone already. As he grunted before pulling down his shirt a bit, showing the third Hokage the mark. As Anko's eyes widened, but she didn't say anything. For now that is the unknown. We will have to have that mark sealed up, said Sarutobi. As he then looked back at Sakura. As he looked at Naruto, who wasn't saying anything, the Naruto was always talking. So what happened after that, he said. This time Naruto spoke. It was then that I arrived, Naruto said, and saw what was going on. So I offered to stay behind while the both of them go along. Anko clenched her fist here and that, but she still didn't say anything. The both of them took off, and I stayed behind to face off against Orochimaru. But no matter, the abilities I threw at him, he kept on deflecting them or doing something out of the ordinary. Even slipping out of his own mouth, Naruto said, even after I injured him. I couldn't handle him. He ended up knocking me out, said Naruto. And then I woke up to see Sakura being attacked. Yes, Sakura said. Naruto was carried to me by his book. The book that he's always talking about, Yamato, she said. But then this sound team attacked us, as they said that they wanted to kill Sasuke. So I had to protect both him and Naruto, because they were going over toward the tree. But then Naruto woke up along with Sasuke, and that mark was affecting Sasuke until Naruto snapped him out of it. So, you guys weren't aware to what happened. What do you mean, Sakura asked. You didn't see that thing in the sky. That thing in the sky? Well, what are you talking about with the weird wings? Sakura said. The place was really shaking bad, but we were inside the trees. Sarutobi then turned towards Naruto. And what about you, he said. Oh, no, said Naruto. I was unconscious the entire time. As Sarutobi released a sigh of relief. Thank God, he muttered to himself. What's wrong? Asked Sakura. Oh, it's nothing, my dear, he said. As he looked towards Sasuke. I will have Kakashi seal that up for you, he said, so that you can participate in the exam that are coming up without any interference. Can you three please excuse me, he said. I would like to talk to Anko alone. The three of them nodded as he left the room. Anko, as they gone, she released a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, she said. So, it's not him, she said. As Sarutobi didn't say anything. What's wrong, sir, she said. As Anko looked at him. As the man seemed worried about something, but he wasn't saying anything, as she wondered what was going on. He's lying. What do you mean, he's lying? He said that he was unconscious. You growing Naruto make him have very special traits. Most of those traits being very brash, and he was always talking loud, doing something out of the ordinary, always interrupting conversations. But his voice a minute ago, it was so soft. It was unusual for the original Naruto. I believe he does know something about this, but he's just scared. Well, anyone would be, Uncle said. After all he's been through, doesn't he have a reason to be scared? I understand that, Uncle. But if this is truly him, we have to know for sure. We have to see. And if it is, Uncle asks, would you tell the other council members? As Sarutobi leaned back in his chair, he loved Naruto like a grandson. He had sworn to me not to unquestion that he would protect him. But would he really risk the lives of thousands upon thousands of people for one person? As he just didn't know what to do. These were the questions that came, making the job of Hokage extremely hard. As he sighed, when the time comes, we will have to discuss proper measures, said Sarutobi. But for now, I want you to find Kakashi, so we can get that mark on Sasuke sealed up. It seems like the snake has set his praise on young Sasuke as well. Uncle clenched her fist. We cannot allow him to get him. We can't afford for him to get anything. As Sarutobi nodded. I agree with you 100%, he said to her. But for now, let's just focus on right now. He will show his face again. I am sure of that. There must be a bigger reason for him to be in Konoha other than displeasing his mark on Sasuke. As Uncle hand reached up as he placed on her neck. Yeah, you're right, she said. Moments later, as Naruto's back in his room, as he wondered if he played it off well. Well, he wasn't acting like himself, and he needed to start acting like himself, because he couldn't afford for the old man to figure things out. The old man wasn't dumb after all, he was incredibly smart. And Naruto knew if he slipped up, the man would figure him out like a book. He then heard a knock on his door. As Uncle entered the room, she looked over at him before walking over, as she punched him right over the head. Ouch, said Naruto as he looked at her. What the hell was that for? What the hell were you thinking, she said, going up against Orochimaru on your own? I wanted him to pay for what he did to you, Naruto said, to hurt him just as much as he hurt you. What's wrong with that? You could have gotten yourself killed, she shouted at him. I told you in the past to not do something as stupid as this after I told you my story. If I know you were going to risk your life like this, I wouldn't have told you in the first place. As she glared at him, but he could see that she was worried. She was just worried for his safety. I'm sorry, said Naruto. Uncle sighed as she stepped forward. Look, brat, she said. You're all I have, and we're stuck with each other. The both of us has been through a similar life, and that has made us bond even more. Despite everything, you're like a little brother to me, and I just don't want to lose you, especially not to that man who has already took so much away from me. So next time, don't ever do something as stupid as that again. I promise, he said. You better, she said. Now, is that all that happened? Did he knock you out and you woke up after the event happened? The event? Said Naruto. Yes, what the old man said. The howling wind, what the pink hair girl said on your team. Yeah, said Naruto. And you're not lying to me, she asked. Of course not, said Naruto. Alright, fine, Uncle said. As she looked towards him. Get some rest. The next phase of the exam will be starting up soon. And prepare yourself, she said, because I want to see you kick ass out there. You know I will. As she left the room. The moment she left the room, a worried look came on her face. He was lying. She has known him for some years now, and she could tell that he was lying. And if he was lying to her, she knew that it was something dangerous. Something that he didn't even want her to know. Usually he told her everything. Despite being scared, he told her everything no matter what. But now he was lying straight to her face. Now she was extremely worried. Yes. As she was thinking about the village, most of the civilian council, the rest of the council members, they already want to get rid of him when he was younger multiple times. But now, if they find this to be a viable source, they will use this, and the old man will have to go along with it. As he wouldn't. Make one life count for thousands. If it was up to that, Uncle was sure that the others would try to get some plea towards the fire daimyo to remove him from his seat as the Hokage. And then, things would just get even more worse. As she sighed, she would have to just draw the information out of him. Talk to him even more, because she needed to know what happened. But now, she fully understands that it was something involving him, and she was scared. But, if it comes down to it, she would leave this village and take him along. Because under no circumstances would she ever let them kill him, no matter what. Time skip. So, did Kakashi manage to get rid of that hickey on your neck? Asked Naruto. Sasuke glared at him. Hey, why are you looking at me like that? Naruto asked. I just asked you a simple question. It was the hickey, Sasuke said. Then what was it? Sakura told me that he bit you right in the neck. That is the only way I can describe it. It was a hickey, Sasuke. I heard that Orochimaru had a thing for little boys. You better watch yourself. As Sasuke just continued to glare at Naruto. As all of the competitors who had passed, the forest of death was now there. All of them waiting to see what the next part of the exam was. The sound team was also here as well. After taking a beating like that, they managed to get a scroll from a rain team inside the forest by killing the three of them. Well, Zaku did it because he was furious. 2 times now he was getting the crap beat out of him by that brat. So he just imagined those sound ninjas looking at him as he blew them to smithereens with his wind. But next time, he will have his revenge. Because nothing will stop him from seeing that brat get what he deserved. Nothing but death. Hinata was looking over. She hadn't had the opportunity to talk to Naruto, as everyone in here was still wondering what the hell happened in the Forest of Death. But they were all told that it was an enemy, illusion, and for them not to worry about it. Most of them knew that that was ridiculous. Because what kind of illusion like that could plague on their mind so much, where they couldn't dispel it or break it? As the Sand Team was one of them for sure. Some crazy shit is going on in this village, said Kankuro, as he narrowed his eyes towards Temari. You're telling me, she said, as the both of them slowly looked over towards Gaara. Gaara had a sick, twisted smile on his face as he was just staring towards. As Temari tracked his eyes and realized who was looking at, it was a blonde boy from earlier that they met when they first arrived here. Gaara was set on killing that boy. She didn't know why, but when Gaara put his sights on someone, she knew that most of the time they end up dead. So, right now looking at the boy, she could only pray that he had the opportunity to run for his life, because when Gaara reached him, he was going to die. The Hokage then stepped onto the podium as he started to talk about the real reason for the Chunin exams. But Naruto wasn't really paying attention as he was looking around. Seems like a lot of people made, Naruto said, as he noticed the Sand group. Shikamaru. He noticed Hinata. Their eyes did not meet as he was looking somewhere else. He really wanted to talk to her, but it seems like she's still ignoring him. So he looked around the room as his eyes met. Naruto-kun. That boy. He has the one tail Shikaku inside of him. I never told you earlier. Well, I already told him that boy is a tail beast just like him. I'm not a tail beast, Naruto said. I'm a Jinchuriki. Oh yeah, said Yamato. I guess all that sleeping has knocked some sense out of your mind. I still can't believe that I fell asleep, said Yamato. That was strange, to say at least. Well, I have my speculations, said Naruto. It must be because of all the new spells that you got. Your body working in hyper mode to reinforce all of them. I suppose you can say that, said Yamato. But it's still strange. Hey, did you dream, Naruto asked. Oh yeah, of course I did. I forgot to tell you about my dream, didn't I? You see, I was in my human form. I was in this luscious field. And then, I saw the most beautiful thing ever. And what was that, the Kyuubi asked? Oh, 4 giant pears of your breast, that is, said Yamato. What? Said the Kyuubi. Yeah, there were 2 of you. And they were naked. The both of them just rushing towards me. As they were moving in slow motion, I quickly got up and tore my clothes off as I went towards them. As I leaped. And to tell you, The most perfect thing happened. As I was going in, my body twisted in a perfect formation, and I slid as Yamato was cut off as he was grabbed by the Kyuubi tail and thrown away, as he smashed in the ground in the mindscape, making Naruto chuckle. There is nowhere in hell would something like that ever happen, said the Kyuubi. A man could dream, said Yamato, as he picked himself up off the ground. The Hokage finished giving his speech as a new man then came up. Hello everyone, he said as he coughed. My name is... He coughed some more. Hayate, he said. What's wrong with this guy, said Naruto. Looks like he's about to die. He seemed to have some illness or something. Now we will be having preliminary matches. Preliminaries? What? Someone shouted out. Well, there are too much of you. A lot of important people will be at the finals, and they won't want to see some long drag out thing. So we will be cutting down the numbers right here. But before we go any further, would any of you like to give up right now? If you feel that you can't compete, raise your hand and you may take your leave. As everyone looked around, seeing who raised their hand, as they saw a hand went up in the air, as everyone turned towards it. I'm afraid I suffered too many injuries in the first. I wouldn't be able to go on. As it was Kabuto. You may take your leave, said Hayate, as Kabuto nodded and walked away. Anyone else? Asked Hayate, but no one else said anything. Alright then. He then turned his head as a large board came down. That board will randomly select your names. Once your name are called, you will come down to fight. As he looked towards the board, as two names popped up, Sasuke Uchiha versus Yori, as it was Kabuto's teammate. As Naruto turned his head towards Sasuke, seems like you get to fight first. Don't get your ass kicked, because it would be real a shame for you to get your ass kicked so early. As if, said Sasuke. Don't get the hell out of here, he said. Cocky as always, said Naruto. Just watch your back. And don't be too overconfident. You love doing that. As Naruto walked off, good luck, Sasuke-kun, said Sakura. Yeah, sure, he said. As Sakura smiled as she went up with Naruto. The both of them made their way up there. As Kakashi appeared behind them. Did I miss anything, he asked. Nope. You're right on time, Sensei, said Naruto. As Kakashi looked down at Naruto, as he saw this strange phenomenon that happened in the village. After seeing what Naruto could do with that book, the things that he could do, Kakashi had the idea that Naruto was responsible for that. But still, he didn't want to place any blame on Naruto. Because, if the council already hate him so much, they would use this as a great chance to get rid of him. And he had a duty from Minato to protect Naruto. So that is what he will do. Well then, let's see how our Sasuke will do against his opponent. For sure he's gonna win, said Sakura. Do you even have any doubt? Well, Sasuke can't be overconfident. He'll get his ass kicked if he does anything stupid or to say it out loud, making Sasuke turn and glare at him. Alright, said Hayate. This match ends if one of you kill each other, or the other submit defeat and gives up. Or I can step in time to end it myself if I see fit. Other than that, there are no other rules, he said. Now, are the both of you ready? The both of them nodded. Begin, Hayate said as he jumped away. Sasuke leaped away from Yori. As Sasuke pulled out 3 kunais and thrust them forward, Yori pulled out a shuriken as he threw it towards Sasuke. As he leaped over Sasuke's kunais, as Sasuke ducked under the shuriken, as Yori took this opportunity to rush towards Sasuke. He tried to grab Sasuke, but Sasuke rolled under his hand. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as he saw that Yori really wanted to hold on to him. Sasuke sped through hand sign, fire style. For about jutsu, he said, as Yori went through hand sign, earth style, mud wall, as a mud wall erupted right in front of him. As the smoke cleared away, Yori looked around but Sasuke was nowhere to be found. Too slow, said a voice, as Yori was knocked up in the air. Before Sasuke jumped and delivered a powerful spinning kick that smacked into the side of Yori's face. Yori was sent sailing as he crashed off the ground 2 times before coming to a stop. He slowly got up to his feet, but he had to jump as a massive fireball came towards him. The moment he jumped though, Sasuke appeared right in front of him in mid-air as Sasuke lashed out a punch right to the chest that knocked Yori back. Sasuke dived down to the ground in incredible speed as he landed before Yori before jumping up. As he delivered a brutal kick to Yori's back, You're winced out in pain as he cursed. He didn't even get a hand on damn Uchiha yet. As Sasuke flipped around him and drive a knee into Yori's gut, Yori's eyes went wide before he coughed up blood and spit. As Sasuke then brought down his heel and smashed it into Yori's face with tremendous force. The man hit the ground a boom as he was knocked out cold. As Sasuke landed gently, Hayate then came over. As he checked Yori, he was out completely. Winner, Sasuke Uchiha, he said, as an arrogant smirk came on Sasuke's face. Way to go, Sasuke, Sakura shouted, I knew you could do it. Was there any other thought, he thought to himself, with an arrogant smirk as he made his way. As Sasuke walked up the stairs, he passed by Gaara as the guy was just staring at him, but Sasuke paid him no mind as he went over towards his team. As Lee, Neji, and Kiba, all of them looking at him. You did it, Sakura said as he arrived. As Sasuke didn't say anything as he looked out to the field. Better not lose your match, dope, Sasuke said. See that I win my match, and I want to face you in the finals. Oh, really? Why, Naruto asks. To finally show you that I'm better than you, said Naruto. You think, said Naruto. You know, we haven't fought in a long while. But since the academy when I kicked your ass completely, you were surprised that day for sure. But, even though it has been a couple of years, you think you can beat me now, Naruto asks. Of course I can, Sasuke said. Well then, I better not lose then, so the both of us can fight in the finals. The both of them turned their head as the next match was Kin versus Shikamaru. What a drive, said Shikamaru as he turned his head. As he thought to himself he could just forfeit right now, and didn't have to fight that girl, his mom. She wasn't here so she wouldn't know anything about this. But before he could say anything he was pushed off the railing. It wasn't a long drop as he fell down to the ground. He turned and glared. Don't you think that was a bit too much? Asked Choji. I don't think so, Asuma said. I'm glad you understand, Sensei, said Ino. If I didn't do that, he would have probably forfeited or done something else. Now he has no other choice but to fight her. Come on, you can do this, you lazy ass, he said. Troublesome woman, he thought to himself. As he got to his feet, as he slowly made his way over. As Hayate looked at the both of them. Are the both of you ready, he asked. Yeah, I guess so, said Shikamaru. Alright then, begin! This match went same as canon and Shikamaru ended up using shadow possession and knocked her out. He won. The lazy ass did it, said Ino. Way to go, she said. Annoying woman, he said, as he slowly made his way up. As the board then went through names again. Temari versus Tenten. Go on, Tenten, said Lee. Go and show her your bright, blazing youth. Yes, you can do it, guys said. Go and show her everything that you're made of. You are bursting with youth, my student. Yeah, okay guys, she said. As she looked to see Naruto wave at her. Good luck, he muttered the words. As she nodded, she made her way down. As Lee turned towards Naruto as well, he smashed his fist into his palm, just hoping that he would get to fight Naruto. Yes, it would be a splendid match indeed. This match went same as canon, as it doesn't matter what Tenten threw at Temari. Temari kept on blowing them away, as she then created a wind tornado, as Tenten was torn up inside with cuts all over her body, before she dropped right on Temari's fan. Lee jumped down there in rage, as he glared at Temari. You shouldn't have done that, he said. What's wrong? It was a death match after all, Temari said, as Lee clenched his fists, as he then felt a hand on his shoulder. She is right, this is Tenten's match. She has not fallen. It only needs time to mend our wound, but after that we will come back and fight, as strong as ever, said Guy, with a proud smile on his face. So don't lose faith, my student, because once she's back up, her flames of youth will ignite even more. As everyone was watching the poor scene, but they weren't paying attention to what was going on, as Kakashi had one eye narrowed towards Naruto. The thing was the railing that Naruto was holding onto. As the match was going on and Tenten got hurt, Naruto banged raw iron, as Kakashi noticed that. The third had told him to keep an eye on Naruto. It seems like things were escalated. He narrowed his eyes as he could see one thing that could push Naruto in here. As he looked at Neji, he then looked at Hinata. He knew that those two, well, they didn't get along because of the family. He knew that Naruto still sees Hinata as his best friend no matter what. So if those two were put together, Neji would try to do something, well, enrage and kill her. And he knew that wouldn't go well with Naruto. So he could just pray that that match didn't happen, as he thought to himself. As Sarutobi was looking over, as he was focused on Naruto the entire time, knowing that Naruto was friends with this girl, and he has seen display of rage once again as the metal that Naruto's holding on bent, as Anko noticed as well, but she didn't say anything. As she looked at the Hokage, she was starting to get worried even more, as she knew that the man would put the village above anything else to make sure that the village was safe, even if it means sacrificing one to make 1,000 live. The board then went through name again. Rock Lee first came up. Lee was clenching his fist tight, praying for that name to show. But a disappointed look came on his face when he saw Gaara of the desert. As he sighed, he looked over at Naruto. As Naruto shook his head in an apologetic manner, as Lee gave him a thumbs up. Next time, he said, muttering the words. He then looked down as he saw that there was a guy from the hidden sand. The one with that crazed look on his face. Guy Sensei, I'll make you proud, he says. He jumped down. That's the way, my youthful student, said Guy, as Lee made his way. The both of them entered the arena, as Gaara wasn't even paying attention to Lee. He was just smiling like a maniac. Let's have a youthful battle, shall we? You're in my way. You'll die soon, said Gaara. Hayate was a little bit freaked out by this kid. Are they both fearing, he asked, as Gaara nodded, as Lee nodded as well. Begin! Everyone watched his sight. When the match just started, Lee's speed was impressive, but Gaara was still able to hold him back. But when he took off those weights, Gaara stood absolutely no chance, as Lee was beating the crap out of him by moving so fast. But then Gaara get by the momentum. Lee knew he had to do something to kick it up, so he entered the gates. As he had to prove himself, he couldn't let Guy Sensei down, and he had to prove to Naruto that he was strong as well. As he looked up at Naruto as he entered the 5th gate, bursting with unbridled power before he took off. The battle was a gruesome scene, but it still ended with Lee on the ground, Gaara almost crushing him, but Guy went down there and blew away the sand. Even though the battle was done, and his body was total, Lee got to his feet, but to everyone's surprise he was unconscious, as Guy had tears in his eyes as he grabbed his student and headed off with him. As he went to the other doctors, the infirmary, as Naruto had a worried look on his face thinking about Lee. As he looked down towards Gaara, after a while he seemed completely fine, just going back towards his siblings. It seemed like his face was cracking, but that was just a shell over him. As Naruto was pissed off to what he did to Lee and almost killing him, that made it even worse. But Naruto calmed himself. He couldn't afford to get so angry. The next match though, as it was Shino versus Dosu. Dosu tried to use his gauntlet to mess with Shino's hearing, but Shino had planted bugs underground as they slowly crept up Dosu and started to feast on his chakra. Before he knew it, he was getting weaker and weaker until he was unable to do anything, as Shino ended the fight with one single punch, knocking Dosu completely out because the man was drained of his chakra, as he was almost dead if he wasn't rushed to the infirmary, as Shino was declared the winner. Way to go, Shino-kun, said Hinata, with a smile on her face. You did it. Shino wasn't that badly bruised or anything, because his bugs has done most of the work for him. He just stayed out of the way of the shots. I knew you could do it after all, said Kiba, as a smirk came on his face. I'm just waiting for my chance, praying that I get to fight him, Kiba said as he looked over. But Naruto wasn't even paying him any attention. Kiba-kun, you need to stop this, Hinata said. No, Hinata. Even though you won't tell me what he did, he hurt you. And I would be damned if I let him do it again. But he's my friend, Hinata said. No friend would ever hurt you like that. He's no friend of yours. As he then felt something as he turned towards Hinata. For the first time, she had a pissed off look on her face, glaring at him. Don't ever say that, she said. As Kiba was taken aback by that. Yeah, okay, he said. The next match. Naruto was taken aback when he saw the two names. Hinata Hyuga versus Neji Hyuga. As Naruto clenched his fists, knowing how Neji's grudge against Hinata was big. Hinata was walking on the stairs as he turned. For a split second their eyes made contact, As Naruto looked at her, she didn't look away before she turned her head, walking down the stairs fully. As she made her way down there, "Are the both of you ready?" Hayate asked. "What's the point?" said Neji. "Fate has already destined that you lose today." "I didn't ask you that," said Hayate. "I asked if you're ready." "Yes, I am," said Hinata. "I am as well," said Neji. "Alright then, begin!" Hinata, "Give up." "What?" said Hinata. "There is no way you can possibly win today. You will just ensure that you get hurt. Fate has already declared me the winner today." "Fate, you said Hinata. As she lowered her head. "Naruto-kun," she thought. "Because of you, you're the one who's giving me the strength to stand up here right now. And I will show you that all of your work, helping me, changing my attitude and changing everything, was not for nothing. I will not lose," she said. "I have a goal," she said. "And I will make that goal a reality. I will fix our family no matter what. And because of him," she said, "I have the strength to do it. And if the right way to do this is not to lose to you, then I won't right here," she said, "and finally prove that I am fully worth something." As Neji looked at her, "You still don't understand. You still think that you can win this," he said. "I do," she said, "the content look." As Neji shook his head, "Well then, I guess we have nothing more to discuss." As he launched himself towards her, Hinata launched forward as well, activating her Byakugan as Neji did the same. The both of them then started to clash violently in the ring, as their palm was hitting against one another, smashing with so much force. This was different from many of the battles that happened today, as this was a purely taijutsu battle with their style of fighting. And Hinata was keeping up with him. Neji was surprised. He knew that she had changed, and it was because of that boy, Naruto Uzumaki, that boy that he hated so much. But it doesn't matter, he was the better one. And fate will make him win today no matter what. As he passed through Hinata's defenses, as he smashed the hand right into her stomach, knocking her away. Hinata flipped as she landed, as she held on to her stomach. But she got back up and charged forward, as the both of them started to clash even more. As Neji was getting more and more hits on her, as he knocked her back with a violent force that made her cough up a bit of blood. As Naruto clenched the railing even more, seeing that. Hinata tried her best. Despite getting a bit stronger, she was still no match for Neji, as Neji delivered a powerful hit that sent her sailing as she smashed into the wall. Hinata Kiba shouted out, as by now the railing was bending in all type of ways, as it was just an inch away from snapping, that Naruto was holding on to. As Kakashi could literally feel the anger, the rage, resonated off of Naruto right here. Sasuke turned his head as he could feel it as well. Naruto," Sakura said. Ever since he saved her in the first of death, she saw him in a different light. Well, he still made fun of her, and the both of them still bicker a bit. But he was her teammate and he saved her life. As she could see that he was tense, she was about to touch him to try and snap him out of this funk, as she knew that Hinata was his best friend. So it was painful for him to watch this, but she couldn't. The reason being she was scared. As her hand reached close towards him, she felt something that made her feel very scared as she backed away. She looked back at Kakashi, as he didn't say anything, he just looked at Naruto without even watching the fight. As Sasuke looked at him. "Dope," Sasuke said. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he asked. But Naruto did not answer, his eyes were just fixed on the fight. Despite getting that powerful hit, Hinata got back up, as Kurenai got a worried look on her face. "I will not give up. I already told you," Neji said. "Fate has already declared me the winner. Give up and be done with it," he said. "And I told you." "No," she said. Neji dashed forward as Hinata raised her hands, but he quickly slid through her defense as he delivered multiple strikes all over her body that sent her sailing once more. As she hit the wall, the boom. Everyone was so focused on the fight they didn't hear the snapping sound, but the Hokage heard, and so did Anko, as the rail that Naruto was holding on to break. As Kakashi noticed the ground at his feet, it started to crack a bit. Despite the injuries Hinata suffered, she still got back up. "I won't lose." She then looked up at Naruto, as their eyes met. As she smiled at him, that calmed him for a few seconds. "You stubborn girl," said Neji. "Alright then, I'll make sure that it ends right here. As he set himself into a perfect stance to aim right for her heart before leaping forward to deliver the final strike. A powerful shockwave blew away Sakura and Sasuke, as it even blew the rest of the team that were close to them, as Kakashi was pushed into the wall by the force just because of Naruto shooting off of where he was, as Uncle eyes went wide. But guys, be in this episode right here. If you want the next part of it, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember to share this with all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.